Hello, I'm with Cédric Duszak and I'd like him to present himself.
Hello Philippe, Cédric Duszak, Operation Director for Hydro Extrusion in France, heading the 4 extrusion plants for the group in this perimeter in France.
Your organization is called Hydro Extrusion France. Can you tell us about the organization and the factories and the product?
So Hydro is a Norwegian company, worldwide base. We have plants everywhere in the world, integrated in the value chain of the aluminium profiles production. So starting from our mines till the extrusion product, even further with added value activities like surface treatment. If we look more now to the extrusion business, the process itself, we start with an aluminium billet, which is a big block of aluminium that we heat, put that into an extrusion press. And there with huge forces, up to 8,000 tons of pressure on this block, we will push it through an extrusion dice, which will create the shape of the profiles. We extrude that over a length of 50 to 60 meters. We cool it down, and immediately after we will stretch it to give it the straightness and the final property. Then we cut it to the customer length requirement, followed by a aging cycle, which will give the final mechanical properties to our product. On top of that, Hydro has capacities for surface treatment like anodizing, painting, machining, punching, bending. In fact, our idea is to offer to our customer solutions and not only profiles.
We've recently done a diagnostic or 4 diagnostics of their 4 factories in France, and I'd like to ask them a few questions about that. Tell us about these diagnostics. What were you looking for? Why did you want a diagnostic by Marris Consulting?
The objective when we get in touch the first time was to focus on the service to our customers. Our on-time delivery was not as expected from my side and for sure from our customers. Not bad, but not perfect. That's why we started to discuss about the theory of constraint. Moreover, we saw also that our working process and stocks were a bit too high for our kind of industries, and so that's why we give you the mandate to support us in our journey there.
We reduced together the work in progress through the 4 factories by about how much?
We went up to 4 times less width.
Divided by 4 the level of work in progress, which is basically what we always do, or divided by 3, divided by 10, that sort of stuff. It's had an impact on throughput, on performance.
Absolutely, we accelerated a lot the throughput throughout the whole plant, in fact. And for me, the best results is the on-time delivery that we can now offer to our customers, reaching minimum 99%.
Yeah, it's a real competitive edge, which is really good. So the diagnostic is it's over 2 days, a mixture of walking around, watching the process day and night, when there's night shifts and stuff, for a day, a night, and a morning, and also interviewing a few key people. And then in the afternoon, we present our findings. Can you tell us how you lived through that? What did you think of the diagnostic? Is that the right format, the right length? Did we manage to understand your factories 2 days each?
You managed correctly because in 2 days you got the opportunity to see the whole process, to meet a lot of people. For them it was really challenging because it was the first time to have this kind of diagnostic and analysis of our process by external eyes in this format. But I think at the end they were quite happy with the output of that, and for sure the results.
What we look at is both the technical aspect, the level of work in progress, how you manage the maintenance and how you're using your computer systems and how you manage flow and so forth. But we also work on the human aspect, the individual behavior, the collective behavior, the silos. Any comment on that? There's in fact we're mixing both technical remarks and human managerial remarks. Does that work well?
Absolutely, and for sure everything starts with people. So if we start acting with the people, then we will be more focused on the technical part of our processes, and the fact that you really manage well between these 2 aspects give them the confidence. The results of the diagnosis was not only based on the KPIs and machine driven, but also on what they told you, what they have explained, what were their main concerns, and how to improve that. It is true that it is sometimes harsh, but if it is the truth, then you cannot say anything against it. What was good is that you adapted also your communication from one people to another, and depending on the different individuals. Sometimes it was you, Philippe, sometimes it was one of your colleagues who took the points, and the mixture was the right. What was good also in the output of the meetings, it was action driven. everybody was relaxed, even if sometimes there was some hard fact put on the table. It was not to hurt someone. It was just to make sure that all the problems were on the table and how we will solve them together.
Do you think it's good value for money, the diagnostic?
Consultants are always too expensive. We all know in all the industries. But at the end, yes, if you look to the results, it's an investment that you have to do an investment on your people and on your factory. So it was the
right. Your factories are fairly similar, or very similar in terms of process with extrusion and so forth. And so one might have expected to have the same kind of conclusions, the same kind of remarks. But we were fed by the theory of constraints approach. So one of the elements that we wanted to try and identify was the constraint, the capacity constraint of each of these different 4 factories. We did that, and each time they were different. Would you like to comment on that?
You're right. Even if our extrusion process, let's say production process, are really similar between our 4 plants. The specificity of the equipments themselves, the way we produce based on our customer portfolio is quite diverse, in fact. And for sure, if we look to the 4 plants, the bottlenecks were not at the same place. If we took a plant in Puget-sur-Argent, there the aging furnaces were a bottleneck. In Albi, this was the packing department. For Châteauroux, this was a separate department where we do also machining of our profiles, which were really the bottleneck. And for Lucé, it was the automatic system of handling all our baskets with the profiles.
And Albi, it was the heat treatment furnaces. Coming back to Lucé, where it was the storage system, halfway through the process, that was the capacity constraint, the regrettable one. It was a bad place to have a bottleneck. And to keep it very simple, there were 4 layers of pallets in the system and an automatic crane that moved the things around to sort them and pick what it needed and so forth, right? That was the capacity bottleneck. Was that a surprise to you all? What was the solution and how quickly was it solved?
A surprise, no, because it was obvious that the problem was there, but we were looking for a solution for some months before that. And I remember it was during the final meeting, and really at the end of the meeting, one guy just raised his hand at that time and came with a simple remark. I remember in the past there was only 3 layers and not 4. Yep. So by someone in the past wanted to increase the width, so put a 4th layer on the system, and in fact created this bottleneck at the worst place of the plant.
Yeah. 3 or 4 layers of pallets in the storage system. Historically, there have been 3. Somebody in the past had said, let's have more, and went up to 4. The result was the machine spent all its time trying to find space and move things around and so forth, and that slowed it down so nothing came out and became a bottleneck. Right? And I'm very happy with that. I came back after over a year to the factory and said, hey, can you remember? Yeah, he's the guy from the 4th level. Keep it at 3 levels, because that got rid of that bottleneck immediately within a day, right? It was gone, and that led to the next bottleneck and so forth. So what brought us together, what we first did all together was these diagnostics, these 4 diagnostics of your 4 factories. What do you think of Marris Consulting Diagnostics, factory diagnostics? Are they worthwhile?
Absolutely. It was worth the investment done. The reports were quite large, again talking about human aspects but also technical things. In this journey, the most important is to have a good connection between you and us. And I remember after the first chat we got together, something was there was a common view on the theory of constraint and on our industry. This feeling was big. If you have this connection between the diagnostic team and the rest of your own team, it creates a lot.
It's very important to me, and thank you for saying that, because I think one of the reasons we manage to do these diagnostics where people talk about what they're not doing well, what they could do better, and so forth, is there has to be a common trust, there has to be opening up of hearts and thoughts, and so we have to create very quickly good relationships with the people, because otherwise they wouldn't tell us this or they wouldn't say that. So one of the very important things is to be able to create some good communication and empathy between my team and our clients. We need to talk it through. It mustn't just be a report. It must be something that's shared and discussed with our clients. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Philippe.
Thank you.